Yeah, I think Giorgio started that, and yeah, I think he was doing too much. But they did take points from him, and yeah, I'm not a wrestler, and I think if they was supposed to fight, they should fight in during the wrestling match,
Yes.
not after. That's my only opinion. And now, but yeah, the Georgia was doing too much for sure. Like he was fighting aggressive, and we all see also after like now you see how he was like pushing his face and stuff. Yeah.
I'm curious about the shots to the face. Some people saying Giorgio was too aggressive with the hands in the face and the slapping. Is that part of wrestling in your opinion, or is that too much?
One of was like, what the
The man, the myth, the legend, Arman Tsarukyan is on a massive side quest. He took on Georgio Poullas at Real American Freestyle number 6. Now, this fight ended in a brawl, but Arman Tsarukyan got away with the victory. I'm gonna break this down, and I'm gonna give you guys my feeling of why this brawl happened, because I watched it live at home, and I felt like what Arman did, I think anybody would have done if they don't play that shit.
You might have seen some wild headlines about Arman Tsarukyan's recent match, maybe even heard whispers about jail time or nearly killing an opponent. Let's be clear, while the aftermath of this bout was absolutely chaotic, what we're witnessing here is the raw, unbridled intensity of combat sports. Joe Rogan often talks about that fine line athletes walk when emotions boil over. This isn't a murder charge, but it's a prime example of a fighter reaching their breaking point. We're diving deep into the moments leading up to Arman's explosive reaction against Georgio Poullas, dissecting exactly why Arman was a powder keg waiting to blow.
That's what's pissing Arman off, and it would piss me off too. If I was a ref, like, dude, stop hitting his eyes, stop clubbing, wrestle. Look at this right here. I wish I could zoom in on that. He's probably grabbing his fingers and twisting it. That might be wrestling. I'm not sure. Arman's pissed. Blah.
From the very outset, it's clear that something isn't right. What you're hearing is the start of Arman's frustration bubbling to the surface. Our commentator is already pointing out the cheap shots, the fractions. They're tactics designed to irritate and gain an unfair advantage, pushing the boundaries of what's considered fair play in a wrestling match. This early observation sets the stage, revealing the underlying tension that would only escalate, turning a competitive bout into a personal vendetta for Arman. It's the subtle unfairness here that
wrestle. You can hand fight, you can be nice and gentle, and the difference between clubbing and like head control is if this is here and I go whack and I hit it, that is clubbing. But if I grab his head and I shake it like this, that is legal, but that's not what Giorgio is doing. He's literally slapping the head.
Here's where the definition of fair play gets crucial. Our commentator vividly explains the difference between legitimate head control and the deliberate blunt force striking motion designed to disorient and frustrate an opponent, not to score points in a clean wrestling exchange. Georgio Poullas' refusal to wrestle nice and gentle as described, opting instead for these slaps to the head, systematically chipped away at Arman's patience. Understanding this distinction is key to comprehending why Arman's boiling point was not just reached, but utterly breached later in the match.
Okay, now look what he's doing with his fingers. Look at this. Look at this shit. Where's my epic pin out? They're grabbing each other's fingers and he's trying to like... This is why Arman's pissed, because look at all these cheap shit that like these guys are doing to each other. And Arman doesn't play that shit. Look at this right here. I wish I could zoom in on that. He's probably grabbing his fingers and twisting it. That might be wrestling. I'm not sure. I have no idea. But if someone was doing that to me too, I would love to knee him in the liver and try to sweep him and all that stuff. But these are the things that were very...
Beyond the clubbing, we see another layer of cheap shits that's absolutely infuriating for any competitor, the alleged finger grabbing and twisting. This isn't just about physical discomfort, it's psychological warfare. When an opponent resorts to such tactics, it shows a disregard for the sport and a desire to win by any means necessary, even if it jeopardizes an opponent's career by risking injury. The commentator's raw reaction, "If someone was doing that to me too, I would love to knee him in the liver," perfectly encapsulates the primal frustration these unsportsmanlike actions ignite, clearly building the inevitable Arman crash-out moment.
As this man right here, pay attention to the hand fighting right here. I don't know if this is legal, right, in freestyle wrestling, but it can't be. I don't, maybe I don't know shit about wrestling, but this right here, you see Arman's face grimacing as he's trying to pull his hands out.
This is a critical moment. Look closely at Arman's face. That grimace speaks volumes. It's not just the exertion of wrestling, it's the visible manifestation of his mounting frustration and anger from the relentless foul play. When a fighter's composure starts to crack, especially a disciplined athlete like Arman, you know they're being pushed past their limits. The commentator's speculation about the legality of the hand fighting and the empathy for Arman's struggle to pull his hands out underscores the injustice. This grimace is the warning sign, the internal pressure cooker about to explode, directly leading to the Arman crash out we all witnessed.
Arman wins 5-3. Arman's pissed. Blah. Oh shit, here comes dad. There's a brother. Brother gets thrown in there. Arman's being laid down on. They take him down. So it's chaos here. Okay, Arman's corner's there. There's Georgio's brother. There's Izzy. Izzy's trying to...
And just like that, the powder keg ignites. The match ends, Arman wins, but the tension doesn't dissipate. It explodes into a full-blown brawl. This isn't just a post-match handshake. It's pure chaos, with dad and brother getting involved, bodies hitting them. This clip perfectly captures the Arman crash-out. As all the pent-up combat sports, sometimes the fight doesn't end when the whistle blows. It merely transforms into something far more visceral and unpredictable.
And like I said, I think this is all stemming from him clubbing the whole time. Just clubbing. And I think if he wasn't, and like I said, I don't know the rules of freestyle wrestling, but if I was a ref and if I saw, when I was watching it, I was laughing because I was like, he's pissing off Arman by clubbing and maybe grabbing his hands and trying to like manipulate and break his hands.
Here, our commentator reiterates the core reason for the eruption. Tying all the loose ends together, the relentless clubbing, despite admitting uncertainty about the precise freestyle wrestling rules, the message is clear, even if technically permissible in some gray areas. These actions were designed to annoy and provoke. The commentator's personal reaction, "I was lacking predictability of Arman's eventual outburst." It underscores that while Arman's reaction was extreme, it wasn't unprovoked, painting a clear picture.
I totally felt what Arman did was totally justified because Arman says, fuck around, find out. If he would have went out there and started hand fighting and grabbing Arman's head and snapping him down, everything would have been legal and Arman would never got pissed. But when he went out there and he started just whack,
the situation would never have escalated. But by constantly resorting to cheap shots like whack, Giorgio deliberately pushed a button Arman was never going to ignore. This isn't about scoring points, it's about respect and integrity within the sport. Arman's explosion wasn't a random act, but a direct consequence of an opponent choosing to fuck around, leading to the definitive Arman crash out.
You start doing that cheap shit and grabbing fingers and doing that, you're gonna piss off a fighter who does not care. He's doing this for the love of it. He doesn't need the money. So if you disrespect him, like he said, got the win, secure the bag, but prior to that, he says, fuck around and find out. And
respectable guy who doesn't tolerate cheap shit. The commentator explains that Arman is driven by the love of it, not money, which means disrespect cuts deeper. When a fighter is genuinely passionate and honorable, these blatant fouls aren't just rule infringements, they're personal insults. It suggests Arman was willing to screw the bag, sacrifice potential earnings or a clean record, rather than tolerate such blatant disrespect. This makes his crash out not just an emotional outburst, but a principled stand against unsportsmanlike conduct. So
look her down and you throw him over your head, you get points. So it's almost like damn if you shoot, damn if you don't, because it's like if I shoot and if I secure it, it's 2, but if I shoot and you sprawl and you grab me and you throw me, it's like fuck, there was 2 points. So I'm not sure, but I need to have either Chael Sonnen or Henry Cejudo on here to help me break down what are the rules for Real American Freestyle.
The confusion around Real American Freestyle's rules is evident here, highlighting a broader challenge in modern combat sports. Our commentators' plea for experts like Chael Sonnen or Henry Cejudo to clarify legality underscores how ambiguous interpretations can fuel tension and lead to incidents like Arman's, when even experienced commentators are unsure about what constitutes a foul versus a strategic maneuver. It creates a volatile environment. This segment offers a critical takeaway: clear rules are paramount, not just for fair play, but to prevent the kind of justifiable frustration that ultimately led to Arman Tsarukyan's explosive crash out.